morning, good afternoon, good evening. My aunt sent me this video clip. I must say, she didn't sound very cheerful. Just said one line, could this possibly happen? You may want to know what is it she was saying she was so worried about. And the coup's title is, a coup happened in Zimbabwe now. President removes term limit and bans citizens from voting. Could this possibly happen? Well, the answer is yes. And indeed, that is exactly what is happening in Zimbabwe. Let's just listen to the video clip.
A constitutional coup has just happened in Zimbabwe right now. The president of Zimbabwe, Emmerson Mnangagwa, has decided that he's going to stay in power forever. No one is going to stop him. Nothing is going to stop him. And here is the most shocking part of this. The people of Zimbabwe will never vote again because the parliament will do that for them.
Yes, you heard that right. President Emmerson Mnangagwa, an 83-year-old man who seized power through a military coup, has just executed another coup. This time, he's done it with legislative paper and legal jargon, but make no mistake, this is a coup, a constitutional massacre, a daylight robbery of the people's sovereignty. And here's the truly horrifying part. Zimbabweans will never again vote for their president. Read that again, let it sink in, let it disturb you, because that's exactly what they want, for you to feel powerless. Under these demonic amendments, your vote, the single most powerful tool you have in a democracy, becomes worthless, meaningless, a theatrical performance with no consequence. Parliament will now choose the president, not you, not your mother struggling to feed her children, not your father who can't find work. Not the young graduate who left university with dreams, but found only broken promises. Not the vendors on the street trying to survive. None of you matter anymore. Instead, a group of Zanu PF politicians, the same politicians who have driven Zimbabwe into the ground, who have stolen national resources, who have watched their people starve while they fatten themselves on corruption, these are the people who will now choose your president. And because Zanu PF controls parliament with a supermajority, they can elect anyone they want, which means they will elect Mnangagwa again and again and again until he dies in office or decides, out of the goodness of his dictatorial heart, to hand power to his chosen successor. This is not democracy, this is a monarchy disguised in suits and ties. But wait, it gets worse. Presidential terms are being extended from 5 years to 7 years. Do the mathematics of tyranny. Mnangagwa, who was supposed to step down in 2028 after his constitutionally mandated 2 terms, can now remain in power until 2030. Then another 7 years until 2037, when he'll be 97 years old. 97 years old. By that time, an entire generation of Zimbabweans, children born today, will have grown into adults without ever experiencing what it means to choose their own leader. They will inherit a country where autocracy is normal, where constitutional manipulation is standard practice, where the people's voice is a historical curiosity that their grandparents talk about with nostalgia and pain. But here's the nightmare that should keep you awake at night. Who says it stops at 2037? If Parliament elects the president and Zanu PF controls Parliament, what's to stop them from simply re-electing Mnangagwa indefinitely? Or electing his son, or his chosen puppet? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. This is how you create a dictatorship that lasts forever. This is how you ensure that one party, one family, one clique of corrupt politicians can feast on a nation's resources for generations while the people suffer in perpetual poverty and powerlessness. Why is Mnangagwa doing this? Why is an 83-year-old man so terrified of retirement that he's willing to destroy an entire nation's democratic framework? The answer should chill you to your bones. He's afraid of accountability. Think about it. Leaders who have served their people with integrity, who have governed honestly, who have nothing to hide, they step down peacefully. They retire with dignity. They become elder statesmen who are consulted and respected. But leaders who cling to power with such desperate violence, they have ghosts, they have secrets, they have blood on their hands and money in offshore accounts and crimes that sunlight would expose. Mnangagwa came to power through a military coup in 2017 that toppled Robert Mugabe after 37 years of dictatorship. There was gunfire, there were tanks. There was the Zimbabwe Defense Forces commander on national television announcing that this was not a coup, even as it was obviously a coup. And now, 7 years later, Mnangagwa is doing exactly what Mugabe did, refusing to leave office, manipulating the constitution, treating Zimbabwe as his personal property to be kept until death. The student has become the master of tyranny. He knows what happens to dictators who lose power. He's seen Charles Taylor die in prison. He's seen Hosni Mubarak stand trial. He's seen Laurent Gbagbo face international justice. He's seen Omar al-Bashir overthrown and arrested.
Well, all those things are true. But the one issue I wanted to dwell on is the fact that we have seen it all coming. As a nation, we have allowed this to happen. We cannot deny that the last 46 years, we never had a chance to end the Zanu PF dictatorship, because we did have a chance. We had the golden opportunity to end the Zanu PF dictatorship during the 2008 to 2013 GNU. Not even one token reform was implemented. Not one. Mugabe bribed Morgan Tsvangirai and his MDC friends with the trappings of high office, the E-class Mercedes-Benz, the very generous salaries and allowances, the $4 million mansion for Morgan Tsvangirai himself, etc., etc. And the MDC guys forgot about the reforms. This is at the heart of our problem. At the end of the GNU in 2013, SADC called a special summit in which they advised Morgan Tsvangirai and his MDC friends that they should not go into the elections of 2018 without implementing the reforms. They didn't listen. The people themselves had that advice. What did we do? Nothing. Ever since the GNU, the MDC CCC leaders have participated in flawed elections, knowing fully well that the process is flawed, knowing fully well that by participating, you'll only be giving Zanu PF legitimacy. They've continued to participate, regardless, out of greed. In the last few weeks, stories have started to emerge of the level of corruption in the opposition. Why they failed to implement even one token reform, and why they've been participating in these flawed elections, knowing fully well that the process is so flawed, so illegal, the only logical step to do was to withdraw. We started hearing stories of how some of the leaders, including Morgan Tsvangirai, Tendai Biti, Nelson Chamisa, were all rewarded or bribed rather with farms and other benefits. This is the reality. These guys sold out. Why Zimbabweans have failed to see that? In the 26 years the MDC, CCC have been on the political platform, beggars belief. The MDC's number one task was to implement democratic changes to end the Zanu PF dictatorship. If they had implemented those reforms, the nation would have never got here. We would not be in this mess. We did not. And now we are paying for it. There is no doubt that nations get the government they deserve. Zimbabweans, whether we care to admit it or not, it's irrelevant. We are getting the government we deserve. This corrupt, incompetent, and tyrannical Zanu PF dictatorship, complete with this equally corrupt, incompetent, and utterly useless Zanu PF, MDC, CCC opposition. The last 3 years has been frustrating because some Zimbabweans out there have been refusing to accept that Chamisa lied. A simple statement. Did he plug the voting loopholes? The answer is, while he claimed that he had done so, the truth of the matter is on the ground, he did not. And there's some people out there have been refusing to accept that. Out of this personality cult mentality, Chamisa has been elevated to be a demigod who can do no wrong. They even trust him to get the country out of this mess we are in now. Chamisa announced a few weeks ago that he's coming back into politics. His number one priority then, and I'm sure still remains now, is to participate, to con his followers, the millions of them, to participate in the 2028 elections. And if Amendment 2026 should postpone those elections, he will con them to participate whenever those elections come up, knowing fully well that the process is flawed, knowing fully well that Zanu PF was rigging those elections for the purpose of giving Zanu PF legitimacy, perpetuating the people's suffering, and for his reward, 30 more pieces of silver. Why the people have failed to realize that MDC CCC leaders have become Zanu PF Team B in all but name. Even after 26 years on the political stage, including 5 years in the GNU, and they failed to implement even one token reform. Beggars belief. I state it again. Zimbabweans deserve this Zanu PF dictatorship, complete with its corrupt and utterly useless MDC CCC sidekick. And we deserve whatever this constitutional amendment 2026 brings. That is life. Those who do not learn from the past are doomed to repeat the same mistake over and over again. This is where we are. I believe many of Chamisa's friends will make a big song and dance about stopping Zanu PF Amendment 2026. But this is all part of what we have been witnessing these last 26 years. The opposition making a big song and dance about stopping Zanu PF only to earn the 30 pieces of silver. If the MDC CCC leaders failed to stop Zanu PF during the GNU of 2008 to 2018, when they had the best opportunity to do so, it is naive to believe that they can do so now. That is the truth. Why we have failed to realize who MDC leaders are. Beggars belief. You entrust the destiny of the nation to somebody who has already proven beyond all reasonable doubt that they are corrupt, incompetent, liars, and conmen. Well, if you're that naive, then you deserve what is coming next. And it is coming. Good night.